When regional supply chains freeze and supermarket shelves empty, the instinct to panic is natural. However, the fantasy of abandoning the city to survive in the wilderness is a statistical dead end. Your highest probability of operational continuity remains right where you are, behind a locked door. Today, we are using mathematics and behavioral science to build a micro-resilient system right here in your apartment, without breaking the bank or violating your lease. Let us address the most pervasive myth in standard emergency preparedness: the bulk grain stockpile. If you study mainstream survival literature, the immediate advice is often to purchase 50-pound buckets of white rice and dried beans. In a rural environment equipped with outbuildings and root cellars, this is a mathematically sound agricultural strategy. In an urban environment, specifically, a standard 750 square foot apartment, it is a critical logistical failure. We must analyze this through the lens of spatial economics and caloric density. To sustain a baseline physiological state during a high-stress, grid-down scenario, a healthy adult requires approximately 2,000 to 2,500 kilocalories per day. A 50-pound bucket of raw rice contains roughly 80,000 calories. On paper, that metric appears sufficient to sustain a single individual for over a month. However, when we apply the strict constraints of urban micro-resilience, the mathematics quickly break down. First, we must calculate the physical spatial footprint. Space in an urban dwelling is a premium commodity. A standard 5-gallon bucket consumes over 1 cubic foot of volume and is notoriously difficult to stack safely within standard apartment closet dimensions or beneath modern, low-clearance bed frames. Storing a reasonable supply for a 2-person household requires surrendering significant, usable square footage, immediately violating the core principle of maintaining a highly functional living space. Second, and far more critical to our survival calculus, is the hidden operational cost of bulk carbohydrates, hydration, and thermal energy. Raw rice is entirely inert without the introduction of boiling water. The standard preparation ratio is 2 parts water to 1 part rice. Therefore, to safely consume that 50-pound bucket, you must also store, boil, and absorb at least 12 gallons of potable water, strictly for the cooking process. In an urban grid failure event, where municipal water pressure drops and taps run completely dry, water instantly becomes your most strictly rationed resource. Allocating 12 gallons of drinking water merely to reconstitute carbohydrates is a profoundly dangerous misallocation of a finite biological asset.
We can express this problem mathematically by defining the caloric density coefficient as CD equals K over V, where K represents total available kilocalories and V represents the total required spatial volume in cubic centimeters. White rice offers a deceptively poor CD ratio when accounting for the mandatory water and fuel volume required to process it. When you factor in the physical storage of the indoor stove, the required butane canisters, and the dedicated water containers, the true spatial footprint of that single bucket of rice expands by a factor of 3. Furthermore, bringing that water to a sustained boil requires significant thermal output. In an apartment lacking gas lines or a functional electric grid, achieving this temperature necessitates portable indoor stoves. As documented in FEMA's incident data and urban pathology reports following major winter storms, operating open-flame stoves in unventilated, sealed apartment spaces dramatically increases the risk of carbon monoxide accumulation. The chemical combustion process rapidly consumes ambient oxygen and replaces it with an invisible, odorless pathogen. Thus, the bulk rice bucket is not merely spatially inefficient, it actively introduces severe secondary hazards into your carefully managed microclimate. To survive urban disruptions, we must radically pivot our strategy. We must stop viewing food storage as a matter of sheer volume and begin auditing our pantry through the precise metric of net caloric density. We require a system that minimizes the spatial footprint, requires zero thermal energy to process, and, crucially, consumes absolutely zero stored water for preparation.
To solve the spatial and thermal constraints of the apartment environment, we must turn to the basic biochemistry of human metabolism. Every food source can be broken down into three primary macronutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. Both carbohydrates and proteins provide approximately 4 kilocalories of energy per physical gram. Lipids, commonly known as fats, yield an exceptional 9 kilocalories per gram. By shifting our storage matrix away from bulky carbohydrates and toward a lipid-dominant profile, we immediately increase our energy density by 125% per gram. This is the biological equivalent of mathematically upgrading your apartment's baseline energy grid. When we base our micro-resilience strategy on high-fat, high-density nutrition, we achieve what we call the zero preparation mandate. This dictates that the caloric payload must be fully stabilized and bioavailable the exact moment the container is breached. There is no boiling, no rehydration, and absolutely no secondary thermal processing required. By eliminating the need for indoor combustion, we permanently eliminate the carbon monoxide hazard. More importantly, we preserve every single ounce of our stored, potable water for its intended, non-negotiable biological purpose: cellular hydration and operational sanitation. The foundation of this system relies on highly accessible items found in any local grocery store, keeping our budget well within a highly disciplined $15 to $30 range per shopping trip. Let us examine the standard 16-ounce jar of commercial peanut butter or almond butter. A single jar contains roughly 3,000 kilocalories. Geometrically, it occupies a cylindrical volume of less than 45 cubic inches. To achieve that exact same caloric baseline with cooked white rice, you would need to consume over 14 cups of the final product, which requires massive dry storage space, thermal energy, and a significant water tax to achieve. A jar of nut butter, conversely, requires nothing more than a spoon. We can systematically optimize this with canned proteins, specifically those submerged in heavy lipid matrices. When purchasing canned fish, such as sardines, mackerel, or salmon, we must strictly avoid those packed in water. Instead, we select variants packed in olive oil. The protein provides the essential amino acids necessary for maintaining cognitive function and physical baseline during periods of high stress, while the olive oil serves as a pure, zero-preparation caloric booster. A standard tin costs roughly $1 to $2, and its flat, rectangular form factor is geometrically perfect for tight, linear storage spaces. For absolute spatial efficiency, we can also integrate specialized emergency nutrient blocks, commonly utilized in Department of Defense aviation and maritime survival protocols. These dense, compressed food bars are specifically engineered to maximize the CD, caloric density equation. A single vacuum-sealed brick, roughly the dimensions of a standard paperback novel, can contain up to 3,600 calories. Furthermore, these rations are chemically formulated to be non-thirst-provoking. Consuming heavy, dry carbohydrates inherently draws on your body's internal water reserves to aid in digestion and metabolism, aggressively accelerating the dehydration process. Lipid-dense rations maintain a strictly neutral osmotic load, thereby protecting your internal hydration baseline. Procuring these dense calories is only the first half of the equation. The second is the physical spatial audit. We must completely abandon the concept of the singular prepper pantry.
Dedicating an entire closet to emergency supplies is an incredibly inefficient use of premium urban real estate. Instead, we apply the concept of the Microspace matrix. This involves conducting a clinical audit of your apartment to identify dead zones, small, localized pockets of negative space that serve no daily functional purpose. Building this decentralized matrix is a highly logical, three-step logistical process. Step 1 is the caloric assessment. We mathematically calculate our baseline requirement. For a single adult planning for a 14-day grid interruption, we target approximately 28,000 kilocalories. By utilizing our dense lipid approach, combining jars of nut butters, oil-packed protein tins, and compressed ration bricks,
This entire month-long supply can be condensed into a physical volume no larger than a standard carry-on piece of luggage. Step 2 is the geometric fit. We physically map our procured items to the dead zones identified during our spatial audit. Flat sardine tins and compressed ration blocks slide perfectly into the 4-inch vertical clearance beneath a sofa or a low-profile bed frame. Cylindrical jars can be arrayed behind the visible books on the bottom shelf of a bookcase. This places the supplies entirely out of sight, perfectly satisfying the gray man philosophy of maintaining a visually normal environment. You do not want visitors, maintenance personnel, or your landlord observing a conspicuous stockpile. Step 3 is distributed decentralization. We intentionally divide our micro-pantry across multiple rooms. If a municipal plumbing failure floods your kitchen cabinets, or a structural leak damages a bedroom closet, a decentralized matrix ensures that a localized physical failure does not compromise your entire caloric supply. We mathematically distribute the risk, placing 30% of the supply under the living room furniture, 40% in the bedroom dead zones, and the remainder in secure, elevated hallway compartments. Through this meticulous application of applied mathematics and basic biochemistry, we have entirely solved the urban food constraint. We have secured a scientifically sound, 2-week caloric baseline without sacrificing our living space, without spending exorbitant sums of money, and without relying on highly dangerous open-flame cooking methods. We have transformed emergency food storage from a bulky, hazardous burden into an invisible, highly efficient network.
The mathematical triumph of the lipid-dominant food matrix is not solely spatial. It is inherently hydraulic. By entirely removing the 12-gallon water tax required to process and boil bulk carbohydrates, we have liberated a massive percentage of our finite water storage. This surplus allows us to address the most critical, yet frequently ignored threat in urban grid-down scenarios: operational hygiene and rigorous pathogen management. When municipal infrastructure fails, the primary immediate danger is rarely starvation. It is the rapid breakdown of sanitary protocols. A standard apartment complex without running water or functional sewage lines transforms into a concentrated biological hazard within 48 hours. We must allocate our conserved water resources precisely. If we define our total available water volume as VT, we can establish a strict biological ratio. VT equals HC plus SP, where HC represents mandatory human consumption and SP represents the sanitation protocol reserve. Because our decentralized lipid pantry operates on a neutral osmotic load, our HC requirement remains at a strict, predictable baseline of 1 gallon per person per day. This mathematical predictability allows us to confidently allocate the remainder to S sub P. This allocation is strictly utilized for sponge bathing, surface decontamination, and baseline hand hygiene using highly efficient, low-cost surfactants like standard dish soap. Maintaining clinical cleanliness is non-negotiable. The transmission of surface-borne bacteria across tight urban floor plans occurs exponentially. By maintaining rigorous hand hygiene, we prevent the localized spread of gastrointestinal illnesses, which, in an environment without flushable toilets, would catastrophically deplete your hydration reserves through biological water loss. A $15 investment in basic bleach and soap yields an incalculable return in medical stability. We must also integrate plumbing isolation into our pathogen management system. In a multi-story structure, the sudden cessation of municipal water pressure means the vertical water columns within the building's pipes will inevitably depressurize. This can siphon the water seals out of your apartment's P-traps, allowing toxic sewer gases to backflow directly into your living space.
To counter this, our sanitation protocol requires immediate physical isolation. By utilizing simple, affordable materials, such as heavy plastic sheeting and mechanical duct tape, we systematically seal every sink, shower, and floor drain. This $15 intervention acts as a definitive physical barrier, completely isolating your microclimate from the failing infrastructure of the broader building. Furthermore, we manage solid waste using a twin bucket system lined with heavy mill contractor bags. We introduce chemical desiccants, such as granular sodium bicarbonate or standard clay cap litter, into this matrix. These cheap, readily available compounds effectively neutralize odors and aggressively absorb moisture, halting the biological decomposition processes that produce airborne pathogens. This perfectly aligns with our gray man philosophy. Your apartment must not emit any olfactory signatures that broadcast distress or draw external attention. By hermetically sealing and storing these units in a heavily ventilated secondary space, such as a balcony corner, we ensure complete operational continuity without compromising the sanctity of our immediate living quarters. We have mathematically optimized your space and secured your baseline. Now, I want to hear about your reality. In the comments below, outline your specific apartment constraints, be it strict landlords or difficult floor plans, for our upcoming micro-resilience audits. Keep calm and stay safe.